Yo, what is good, my quick crypto family and my coin factory family? Back again with another Kas Kaspa and crypto live stream. And we have some very interesting news to cover today. Ultimately, once more, as similarly to yesterday's stream, is going to be a somewhat recap, or at least a revealing, if you will, of once more the institutional sentiment in crypto, the incoming policies, and once more proof from institutional sentiment why this market, this bear trap, is nothing more than a bear trap. We still have higher highs to come, although the immediate short term again still looks very, very bearish. And equally also be covering some of the Kaspa updates, the ultimate understanding and my belief why Kaspa, is still going to do very well this cycle, and equally with Marathon recently just announcing that they're selling $2 billion worth of stocks to buy more Bitcoin. Here's this bullish for Kaspa. As always, if you enjoy the stream producing every single day, leave a like, share with your friends, and subscribe for more. I apologise if I seem a little bit flustered today. Being in the last 10 minutes before loading up to the stream, I had a message from one of my exchanges that I hold my assets on, saying there's a security breach. So had to quickly try and fix that before before it ended up getting any worse. So hopefully it was good right now. But either way, welcome back to the stream. I hope you're having a very, very good weekend so far. And if you're in the UK or wherever you're based from Mother's Day, happy Mother's Day to those as well. Buffalo Thurman, welcome back to the stream. Hope you're having a very, very good day. Good morning to you too. Basabino, that's exactly the thing I'm afraid of. When Marathon continues to sell high amounts of Kaspa as they did in Q4 2024, how can then price go up? No, Marathon isn't selling Kaspa, it's selling stocks. Marathon could sell all their Kaspa. It won't affect Kaspa. It won't be a drastic effect to Kaspa. Marathon don't control enough of Kaspa to affect its price that much. We actually spoke about this yesterday in my free community when somebody asked me, I think it was Devious Me, asked me if Marathon was to completely stop mining Kaspa or just try and rug it, could that collapse the project? And the answer is no. Marathon as an entity does not control enough of Kaspa to collapse the project. They own like 16%, which is not enough to collapse it. So Marathon isn't the cause that Kaspa came down. Kaspa came down due to the nature of the market, some macro factors weighing in as well, manipulation as well. Nothing due to Kaspa as a project though, fundamentally speaking. Whether we are so early, yeah, completely true. Welcome back, Buffalo. I'm Crypto and even my man, welcome back to the stream. What's Marathon selling? They're selling stocks. So we'll get into that as we continue going through all stuff as well. We can see here in this post that public mining giant Marathon to sell $2 billion worth of stock to buy more Bitcoin. Here we go. Why is this a big deal and what could this mean for Kaspa? Is this bullish for Kaspa? Well, this is an indication of more adoption into crypto, more belief into crypto. Marathon are, betting more and more on the adoption and explosion of crypto going forward. They're selling stock to buy more. And what's important to note again is Marathon, while it's the mining giant, they cannot make any executive decision without their shareholders go ahead with a green light. So the likes of Fred Thiel and Marathon would have approached Think and BlackRock, being their largest shareholder, and asked them, can we sell more of our stock to start mining more Bitcoin? And evidently they got given the green light, the go ahead, and now they are buying $2 billion worth more of Bitcoin. Now in regards to Kaspa, we do know that Marathon, they started mining Kaspa in September of 2023. All the way back here. Marathon started mining Kaspa all the way back here. And they mined a significant amount. I think they at one point had 108 million Kaspa. And then we can see if you look at their balance sheets, if we go to the PDF document here, and we Control F to type in Kaspa, we can see that since then they have sold a considerable amount of Kaspa. During the second quarter, they've been mining it since 2023, but they announced it in the second quarter of 2024. They made it public they've been mining Kaspa since September. They spoke about how the holdings as of December 31st, they began eventually, in 2023, we began eventually evaluating Kaspa as a potential way to diversify our revenue while continuing to utilize our current infrastructure and expertise in digital asset compute. At December 31st, at the end of the year, we held approximately $4.3 million or 34.8 million Kaspa coins. To which they did end up increasing that, or at least the core before that, The next quarterly report will come out next time. So as when it was the quarter before that, they held 108 million Kaspa. They did, at the end of last year, significantly reduce their holdings, which is therefore an indicator to them kind of standing true to what they said they would do, which is they would sell Kaspa to buy more Bitcoin, which evidently have done, which is not too surprising considering that Kaspa mining right now is not that profitable. You can see if you look a little bit further, that's the part we just covered there. Again, talk about how much Kaspa coins they held. You can see it here as well. Quantity, how much they hold right now. The previous quarterly report, they held a lot more. So while they have not referenced Kaspa, or very, very rarely have referenced Kaspa, we have seen in the past, which I'll try and preload while I'm talking right now, the CEO of Marathon, Fred Thiel, when I can spell Fred correctly, expressed to Forbes that they are bullish on Kaspa. We can see here. Let's talk about the interview here. We can see in the other website here from 3D Rudy, he highlights here a transcript from the interview here, where we can see the Forbes magazine interviewer asked, you've mentioned in the past that mining Kaspa is a way to diversify. How much Kaspa do you have, and are you continuing to mine it? We continue to mine Kaspa. We've grown our capacity a handful of times since we first announced we were doing it. Kaspa has had some very strong price appreciation lately, so we have had a hold on the deal life strategy around some of the Kaspa. And then they also mention in the next part here, even Forbes asks, it's hard to ascertain real discernible use for it beyond just people mining it and then sending it back and forth. And Thiel states Kaspa as a technology is very interesting. So Fred Thiel's expressed interest in Kaspa already. It's a very interesting project. It's a web of blocks versus a linear line of blocks, and Kaspa has a very fast transaction speed. He does highlight here, as long as we can mine it profitably and there is a good liquid market for it, then we just view it as a great source of revenue. And truth be told, that's not been the case recently. That's why they have decreased their holding of Kaspa from 108 million Kas to 35 million Kas. But the reason why I asked the question about is this bullish for Kaspa, and I do perceive it as to be bullish for Kaspa, is because this is showcasing them diversifying more of their assets and their capital towards crypto as opposed to the stock market or their stocks, and therefore also starting more into crypto, which is good. And again, with the incoming capital developments, what is likely, or not even likely, what is to come, and therefore likely to rally in price as well, there's a good potential you'll see Marathon start to diversify more into Kaspa as it will become a better source of revenue again. Also, not to mention that while Bitcoin, you can mine Bitcoin to receive Bitcoin, Kaspa the same thing, comparatively, but in due time, when Kaspa's building an actual infrastructure right now, a DeFi, fully fledged DeFi, this will give the miners an opportunity to mine the transactions and make even more money from that, on top of Kaspa mining as well. So if Kaspa manages to evolve, which is evolving as we speak right now, is going through a rebirth into a fully fledged DeFi with KII building on it, KF building project on it, you've got Igra Labs, you've got Casplex and multiple other layer 2s, you've got smart contracts coming on board, stablecoins, bringing more adoption to Kaspa. You see higher transaction volume, higher fees, and therefore more money you can make from mining the blocks. And Marathon therefore could size back in to Kaspa more. And this here is already proof, and BlackRock's proof therefore as well, of the increasingly bullish sentiment in crypto. The video here that I'll be playing out a little bit later on from David Nguyen, the head of Six Digital Exchange, who confirms the institutional appetite for crypto is growing. So while Kaspa's down, crypto's down, things are looking bearish, the sentiment hasn't changed. We're getting more policies coming through, which I'll cover in a moment. We're getting institutional leaders stating this is what we want for crypto, what we want for the financial markets. And even Marathon again are sizing more and more into crypto, which could then a snowball effect into Kaspa as well. Not to mention, again, remember, another very, very big announcement we got recently was when the SEC basically gave the green light to the element of proof of works mining activities, therefore for Bitcoin and for Kaspa. The SEC effectively just said, if you're mining cryptos, you are not a security. You are completely fine. So this is a very big deal for Bitcoin mining, but also therefore a big deal for Kaspa mining as well, being another fair launch proof of work project like Bitcoin. Kaspa has so many massive, building blocks, foundation blocks already set up for it. It's all ready, or they're all coming out even. Once the adoption comes through and they get a little taste of Kaspa, be like caffeine. You won't be able to get enough of it, and it'll keep ramping up more and more. I'm researching the most profitable and efficient miners. Even with these prices, its same GPU mining is way, way, way more efficient. I mean, ultimately, those who believe in Kaspa, I'm sure people are still mining it. I know you say, Kryptonian, that you're single-handedly trying to keep up the Kaspa mining hash rate right now yourself. You can see the hash rate has come down quite a bit. It's currently now hovering around 1.2, give or take. Have been doing it for the past week or so, but it was about a month back hovering around 1.3, 1.4. So it has come down a bit, just because the miners are not making profit right now. But again, with what's coming out with 10 BPS again, that's going to be a big factor. 10 BPS gives the solo miners more ways to make money. Not because you're going to make more money in the grand scheme, in the exact sense, because there's going to be more opportunities to mine blocks, therefore giving you more opportunities to make money. And I could also see the likes of Marathon jump back into Kaspa again as well. I mean, we're coming to the end of March right now. I haven't found out the exact time for the next quarterly report, but considering it was end of February for the one we just seen now, I'd envision that it'd be end of May time. We end up seeing the next quarterly report for Marathon, and keep in mind by the end of May, you would already see 10 BPS on the mainnet. You'd already see, I believe, stablecoins coming out. You might also see some form of EVMs and smart contracts already on Kaspa by May as well. So you might start seeing Marathon from this point right now sizing a bit more into Kaspa again, as the market going to start in due time reversing, and Kaspa again with their big developments, there's going to be more opportunity to make money from Kaspa as the adoption scales up again. The fact that BlackRock gave the go-ahead for Marathon to even diversify into Kaspa in and of itself is big. Marathon has only ever mined Bitcoin, but now, while again seemingly got a bearish sentiment right now, they have still diversified into Kaspa. They're still holding Kaspa on their balance sheets. They haven't sold completely. And that again is proof from Fed Seal here, highlighting his bullish sentiment again, that he still finds Kaspa a very interesting technology. If he's saying the sort of things, what makes you think that the likes of BlackRock don't either passively or actively know the same things? Stream's so early finally in my time zone. Welcome back, Matthew, my man. Hope you're doing very, very well. And yes, the stream's early today because later today I'm with family. As it's Mother's Day today, so I am having to stream a little bit earlier. But again, I do occasionally do earlier streams. Sometimes I prefer it. But I'm glad you can join, my man. Hope you're having a very, very good day so far. And this is slated to even get more. Yeah, exactly. What I've been saying, you're trying to research to find, better miners right now, and it's going to get even more efficient and therefore more profitable with 10 BPS coming out in the next month or so. So again, there's a lot more to come still. Let's talk about something. Again, all we hear about is learning. Again, I understand the fair sentiment around, Marathon selling Kaspa could be deemed as a very, very bearish thing. And on the, surface, it is quite bearish, and it does seem that way. But at the same time, it's ultimately my understanding is they're still holding Kaspa, so it's still a good thing. Good looking now. Hey, it, Falcon, my man. Welcome back to the stream again. Goat stream, it, Coin, my man. Welcome back again. DD. Hello, the end of May, beginning of June will be our time. Let's hope the source takes. We have to stay confident. In any case, we have the guts. The reward will be delicious, no doubt. The reward will be very delicious indeed. And I'm sure you'll see a lot of the institutional investors jump back in as well. So, one thing that I am obviously going to give a little bit of a gloss over about the market right now again. I'm going to quickly highlight that I was actually editing out and recording a video as well, but because of my whole mishap with the crypto thing that I mentioned earlier in the stream, I completely lost track of what I was doing. So I'm going to upload the video on my realistic outlook for Kaspa and crypto, probably in around about 2-3 hours from now. So stay tuned to that. I'll be uploading that on the channel here. But this is going to be giving a very brief overlook at all of that, and also then getting some of this information here, which again is very important to understand once more how early we truly are. The fact of the matter is that while FUD again deafening, and we understand that much, every single cryptocurrency has haters. Everyone, not just Kaspa, all of them. And they FUD the project like it's their jobs, right? Bitcoins, for example, they say it's not scalable, which is true. It's too slow. You have Ethereum, which is too expensive and it's centralized. XRP is centralized. Solana is not secure. Kaspa's, the only justifiable reason I've heard to hate Kaspa is the price action's bad. There's a big difference, therefore. Nobody is slating Kaspa for its technology or fundamentals. Every other project has something wrong with it inherently that people are therefore using that as a reason to stay away. But Kaspa's is just bad price. But if bad price is the only reason to stay away, then I'll take my chances personally. Kaspa's the only project in this space that with FUD that is only based on PA, while everything else has a justifiable reason to stay away. Which is crazy when you consider also that every project from Ethereum, Solana, Cardano, Sui, Algorand, HBAR, C, Tau, XLM, the list goes on, all of them are 60, 70% down from all-time highs. Kaspa is in no different scenario then. So all Kaspa's doing right now is just a fish swimming along with the whales. It's a smaller project right now fitting in with the other currencies, but has the most potential to surpass the rest of them as well, based on their technology. All the also bleeding is not Kaspa's problem, it's just macro news weighing in the market trends. While still early fundamentally, Kaspa is stronger than most, if not all, and when the markets reverse, you will come back to this post and know what I am getting at here. In regards to the macro news, again, things are slowly but surely starting to rally up again. The CFTC has just withdrew its staff advisory number 23-07 and number 18-14, which will now allow crypto digital asset derivatives and clearing and be treated equally, effective immediately. That is extremely bullish news, but that is not all. David Sachs highlights and retweets this post here from the Senate Banking Committee, GOP. The FDIC is following the OCC's lead in removing reputational risks as a factor in bank supervision. Reputational risks may sound good in theory, but it is defined as the potential that negative publicity regarding an institution's business practice, whether true or not, will cause a decline in customer base, costly litigation, or revenue reductions. In practice, this vague and subjective criteria was used to justify the debanking of lawful crypto businesses through Operation Choke Point 2.0. So, what we're seeing right now is one by one, every regulation, every law, every policy, every agenda, everything that had to do with the old administration, which was very anti-crypto, that all of those, their clear-cut and sole goal was to hold back the crypto industry from mass adoption, all of them are being dismantled, one by one. Which is once more why I really struggle to understand where the FUD comes from. I struggle to see where the FUD comes from, not inherently for Kaspa, but for crypto as a whole. Saying we're in a bear market right now, there are definitely warning signs, but there's no confirmation signs just yet. But at the end of the day, when you look at what is being currently released, these sort of bills coming out, this sort of capital coming out is very, very good. This sort of legislative proceedings coming out is very good for more adoption coming into crypto. This is all about trying to level the playing field, try to lay the clear rules of the road to allow for the TradeFi community, the FIs, to size in with their trillions of dollars of capital into crypto. Which is where I'm going to also then play this video here before we get to spoil the news here, where you have David Newens, the head of the SI6 Digital Exchange, who states here the institutional appetite for crypto is growing. So listen very closely to this interview here.
So we're seeing an increased appetite for financial institutions becoming more involved in the digital assets and crypto ecosystems. What has historically been impediments to the adoption of digital assets and crypto by institutions has been essentially components or aspects of the stack, the tech stack or the regulatory stack missing, and that would include things like on the crypto side, institutional grade crypto custody or institutional grade crypto staking or node hosting. On the digital asset side, just the lack of digital financial market infrastructure for the ability to issue natively digital securities, trade and settle those securities. So as we at SDX are building out services that satisfy that appetite, we'll see that the appetite for the financial institutions who are looking to get more involved in assets, in digital assets and crypto, be satisfied through building out the components of that stack to enable the adoption of digital assets and securities and crypto in this space.
So, I mean, I shouldn't need to really build on top of that, but I'm going to anyways. Again, as institutions, people who are head of their respective fields, not people like us. We're retailers. We ultimately use this sort of news to help devise our own trading strategies. These are the people who are making the market so they can trade for their own benefits. We're just trying to follow along. And these are people who are telling us that the institutional appetite for crypto is accelerating. It is growing more and more. They're still waiting for every single regulation that held back the country to be dismantled. And it's coming. Slowly but surely, but it's coming. How long we got to wait? Again, time will tell. I'm currently in the mental state of believing it's going to be a end of Q2 going into Q3 sort of agenda. Because by that point, we'll hopefully start seeing some elements of quantitative easing, some rate cuts as well, potentially as well. Not that we need them, because to highlight once again, in Bitcoin's first bull cycle, or in Bitcoin's cycle in 2017 when Trump was first elected, that was one of the best bulls we've ever seen in our lives. And there was no rate cuts back here. There's no rate cuts here, or quantitative easing. That was when Trump was first elected, and we still saw Bitcoin go crazy. So we don't need it this time around again, but of course it'd be helpful, and I think we are definitely going to get that. Due to all the current, geopolitical and political, proceedings and what's happening right now, tariffs and whatnot, the economy, while inflation looks like it's on the, cusp of rising more, the actual economy in and of itself is slowing down. The only way to speed up the growth of the economy is to issue rate cuts, to allow more money to flow into the markets. While it's bad for inflation, if the inflation can somehow come down, we'll have to see how it goes from here. Right now, sentiment is going to be going up. If it comes down, then that'll be good indication for rate cuts as well. So, yeah, Marathon. And again, we're seeing the big institutions, the Marathons, the BlackRocks, these are people who are sizing more and more, getting more and more access to Bitcoin, selling what they own in the Web 2 sector, the stocks and whatever they have there, and the fiat currency, to size more into crypto. Happening repeatedly, effectively every single day. This is bullish for crypto. This is going to help more so as well, showcasing proof of that, and this can also this can be correlated to being bullish for Kaspa as well. If Marathon are showcasing more bullish sentiment on Bitcoin, and they actually for the first time diversified to another asset being Kaspa, with what the big updates coming to Kaspa in the next month or two, with it also being at such an undervalued price right now, 70% down from all-time highs, the reverse for Kaspa is due to be quite an explosive one. Which means the mining therefore will be also very profitable, so if they were to get some Kaspa at the lower price where it's at right now, they can make some significant gains. We are currently 35 days, 22 hours, 32 minutes and 40 seconds away from the crescendo activation. Tomorrow is when we will see the release of the Rusty Kaspa version 1.00, and the full activation goes live on the 5th of May. Just to clarify for those who may be a bit confused by what I mean by that, we're going to see the Rusty Kaspa version release tomorrow. But it doesn't mean it's going live on the mainnet tomorrow, because what this therefore means is it's giving the exchanges, the wallets, and the node operators their due diligence, their time, the grace period they need to migrate from the current version they're on right now, which differs. We can see the mining shared version here, you got 5.1, 0.1, 0.5, 15.1, 0.16, all these versions here, all of them are going to have to migrate over, which I'm assuming is this one here, titled unknown here, but that all of these nodes here having to migrate over to RK. If you're not on RK, these nodes become obsolete. So this is ultimately Kaspa giving these wallet holders, exchanges, and you name it, which again, Marathon, you've got Binance who are part of the node operators, Marathon is part of the node operators as well. So you're giving the likes therefore of Marathon a 1 month grace period to migrate to Rusty Kaspa, to give them not in the exact sense, but 10 times more opportunities to mine blocks, to make more profit therefore. I could see again increased adoption of Kaspa as well. So right now, this again, that's happening tomorrow, and then you've got again another 35 days or so until you see it launch on the mainnet. And we've got other big updates coming around that as well. Now, Kaspa Door highlights here, Layer 2 on Kasplex, DevNet Explorer. So sneak peek what's happening right now. We can see smart contract transactions value around 10 Kaspa smart contract transactions. The fee is costing 0.00002. While only sending 10 Kaspas, right now 10 Kaspas are valued around, $6. No, 60 cents. Sorry, around 60 cents or so. They're spending, even a fraction sounds too big to say for that. That's a speck. A speck of the cost of the transaction is being paid in the fee. A smart contract transaction being proven to happen right now is very, very big, and as confirmed capital here as well, there will be no layer 2 solutions that will be going ready and live at the exact release of Crescendo. So when Crescendo comes through in 35 days time, we won't see Kasplex and we won't see Ecolabs and them lot be immediately ready to launch their layer 2s, but it won't be that far off. For Kasplex, a proper time will follow very, very soon. But it won't be far off here. Ecolabs, they are calling all builders, a DevNet launch is approaching. They're looking for 10 technical teams to help test it. One of them, I believe, hopefully, because they've been talking about it so much, will be the likes of Zella Swaps here. And they're also helping release stablecoins on Zella Swaps, therefore on Incurred Labs. You know that KEF are planning to help get a USDT partnership, or whether it's going to be a bridge USDT or the actual native USDT on KEF on Kasplex coming out sometime in May, I believe. Or at least May is when they're going to be releasing the opcodes, which will allow the integration of stablecoins on Kaspa, on the Kasplex. Zella Swaps highlights here, to stay competitive in the stablecoin space, they're rolling out a modular fee engine, enabling ultra-low fees for stable pools and making Zella's an even better home for stablecoin trading. And with their new modular fee engine, it also allows them to collaborate and adjust fee tiers for different pools, giving us greater flexibility to optimize fees based on liquidity, market demand, and trading activity. This opens up the door for dynamic fee adjustments based on trading volume and market conditions, but also, and more importantly in my belief, once more testament to what Kaspa is really about, gives community governance. So where KDAO members can actually vote whether we should modify a fee for specific pools, giving once more power back to the community. Every other project in this space, think of the XRPs, the Solanas, the Ethereums, you name it, every project in this space, the executive decision is made by either a small inside group of people or the CEO. Kaspa is the only project where it is fully down to us. That's what KDAO was created for. That's why KDAO has so much, belief around it. Aside from Nacho, of course, being the unique, stable, the unique meme coin under Kaspa, KDAO has the next highest holders, around 8.5k. Because this, again, people who are holding KDAO, they have direct power to be part of a community. KDAO could be an extremely big thing going forward. That's why I want to partner with KDAO as well and work with them. I made a video on that a few days back. 5 days back now. KDAO gives you power to ultimately affect what decisions happen to the community, how Kaspa evolves from here, what decision we should make, whether we should focus more on exchange listing, whether we should focus more on this sort of narrative, KDAO's a very, very big thing, and Zella Swaps, again, their stablecoin feature coming out seemingly very soon is going to give, again, the DAO members the ability to modify fees for specific pools, giving us power. That's also going to be something that the likes of Marathon will take a notice of, therefore the likes of BlackRock will take notice of. And again, don't forget about Kaspa EVM, or KRI even. KRI, they're shunning a toy for eternal use is now available. So that means you've got the likes of the Gigawatt stablecoin, you've got the likes of the Asset Mint, you've got the likes of the Warp Core, ZETX, Zero Emission Trading Exchange, Olive Chain, and many more projects out there, Airspace 3D, that all are going to be helping bring more adoption to Kaspa in very, very prominent markets. The biggest use for stablecoins, supply chain, cross-border payments, energy, remittances, real estate. And they're now soon enough be available. They're currently EVMs being tested on testnet 10, and will likely be fully released, I'm not imagining immediately, but quite soon after the crescendo hard fork. So right now, Q2 is setting up to be an absolutely explosive quarter for Kaspa. You'll see in the middle, 10 PS, and then probably going towards the latter half, you'll see stablecoins and EVMs coming out, and you'll see even more smart contract architecture from some Polinsky and stuff, and Project Sparkle coming out probably more so towards Q3. Dagnite will be the next focus following the Rust crescendo done. The fact that the significance of EVM, is probably not overlooked now, but it's still worth highlighting. The fact that, you have an EVM gives all the Ethereum models, so the likes of MetaMask and that sort of stuff, all these massive wallets, the ability to seamlessly bridge over to Kaspa. Seamlessly. Which Kaspa is, even now, a more well-constructed ecosystem than Ethereum. And with 10 BPS, it's going to be comfortably stronger. Comfortably faster, much more cheap, much more secure. Which is something that institutions will be dying over. And again, that sentiment is just rallying more and more belief in crypto all in all. These exchanges will come in due time. I'm not worried about it. You can see the volume right now across the board is falling off. Binance is down back to below 10 billion. Last time I saw that was during the bear market. So we're seeing the volume come back down again, because right now all the trading typically is being done over the counter. It's not being done on chain anymore, so it's hard to track the proper volume. But you're seeing Bitcoin continue to retrace, coming back down to 82k now. It could definitely come back further. I wouldn't be surprised to see Bitcoin come back down to 76k here, and maybe it rebounds. Although, as C Crypto, who's a part of the executive community here, when he gives his analysis on the markets and whatnot, which is very, very insightful for those who are in there, he highlights that what we are seeing right now are higher highs and higher lows. A very simple market structure, of course, but when you take that into account, this means we're seeing, highs here, see a low here, high here, technically speaking that's a lower low here, and this is another high here, but it's going down, it's a downtrend still. So there is a possibility, therefore, that when Bitcoin does hit this level again, you might see it come down a little bit further. If it stops here, that could be the sign, therefore, of a double bottom, and therefore an indication that Bitcoin's going to start making the push back up again. So, again, that's the tier element right now. But for me, whether Bitcoin will bounce off this or not, it does not depend on the TA. Bitcoin's direction from here is going to be down to the macro, which is what I keep trying to reiterate. Those who are wholeheartedly bent on TA, and I get why TA is very helpful, I'm trying to highlight that the Bitcoin moves because the macro moves. The macro moves doesn't happen because Bitcoin moves. And there's a difference about that. So what happens when Bitcoin does retrace back down, or if it does retrace back down to 76k, will wholeheartedly depend on what macro news we see right now. Are we seeing a bullish economy? Are we seeing the inflation woes dissipate? Are we seeing wars come to an end? Are we seeing some more indication of rate cuts coming through? Are we seeing policies coming out? There should be, going in April, or in April we should be seeing stablecoin bills being released. If not latest May, but it should be in April. The Genius Act and the other stablecoin bills should therefore give these institutions a better chance and more opportunity to size into crypto, getting on chain. Also going to help their fork. We've got so much money right now that's all waiting on the sidelines. It's going to be coming through, not very far off now, but it's on the sidelines. When it comes through, the markets are going to go through an absolute frenzy. And all assets, I believe, will start soaring, and the ones with real utility and good use cases, even though the ones with the early adoption as well, they will be the ones that will be highly sought after and go even more parabolic from here. Oh, I missed a lot of questions down. Maybe I've been coming back and forth. I don't see any benefit, at least for this year, as economic collapse is on way. I mean, it looks that way, but again, there's no confirmation as such. Economic collapse does look like that's ultimately the problem right now of the markets. The market sentiment right now is inflation increasing higher and higher, wars are still outbreaking, and recession worries. Because the economy is just in shambles right now. And that's not necessarily Trump's fault. You know, I'm not by any means trying to advocate or support Trump and what he's doing right now. I'm holding a very neutral opinion on the matter. All I'm doing is highlighting what's happening in the market. But what I'm going to highlight again is the American economy, and therefore the global economy, was already completely crap. It got bad, and then it got a lot worse during COVID, and then it got worse again. Trump's coming now in a complete terrible situation, and he's doing whatever he can do to make the most of it, whether for the actual benefit of everybody or for himself. Again, you can debate that. But this is not necessarily a fault of Trump or the economy is doing badly. It was already in shambles. What we failed to realize is just how close we were onto the collapse of the dollar. The world reserve currency was about to collapse. And due to the stature of America and the size of their economy, that would have caused all markets across the globe to just capitulate. Everyone would have gone homeless. You all would have lost your jobs. It would have been a complete disaster. So what Trump's seemingly trying to do right now is try to, at least with the use of stablecoins again, US dollar-backed stablecoins, to save the dollar to prevent a collapse. More so, I imagine, just to keep America on top, to keep all the money in America, hence why he's implementing tariffs to bring more business to America. But if it prevents the dollar collapse, then that inherently, I would say, is quite a good thing in this regard, because that would have caused, again, homelessness, loss of jobs, complete catastrophe, riots everywhere. Would have been terrible. It would have been worse than the 2008 financial crash, no doubt about it in my mind. That was a housing bubble. But this would have been a complete economic bubble, a complete collapse. I don't know if it would compare to the Great Depression, but it would not have been great, no doubt about it. So, in regard to this statement here, I mean, maybe, but again, the sources here suggest that one by one we're seeing more regulatory frameworks being released, supporting crypto. So, with all the money that's currently sitting on the sidelines right now, I mean, look at here. The M2 supply here. The M2 supply right now is higher than it was in January when Bitcoin made all-time highs. M2 supply is an indicator of how much money there is right now in the economy. But yet Bitcoin's lower and the markets are collapsing because there's no belief in the current on-risk assets. At least not from retail side of things. Institutions still believe in it. We just saw a video of this. So what we're seeing right now is the M2 supply is equally at highs, not at its all-time high, but is at high levels. So what is to come following, the economic development with potential rate cuts, QE, everything else, with the M2 supply starting to rally again, which is good. Think about from a Kas perspective, when it gets to May time, you can see the M2 supply potentially up here. When the markets are set to reverse, you see QE, potentially. If the M2 supply makes another all-time high, surpassing this, that would be an extremely bullish indicator for what's to come. Because that would mean this is all the money right now in the economy, and that's all the money, therefore, that can size into crypto when the markets are right. It had a massive peak here, fell off due to all the COVID stuff like that, and now it's coming back again. Almost close to all-time highs again, making a local high. So with that said, the economy collapse is seemingly inevitable, at least it seems that way, but at the same time, there's a lot of money on the sidelines right now, and they want to size into crypto, so I'm still not worried about it right now. And shameless plug, but for more information about this sort of more in-depth alpha analysis, then I've got information about that in this community here. You can join for free, 7-day free trial. We do weekly live streams, we do trade alerts, we're trading during this market as well, and we also have very, very in-depth alpha research documents that go into detail about what they're looking at right now. And what they're looking at right now is the evolution of crypto in the financial sector and their belief in it. Kryptoni, brother, my man, thank you very much for the $5 donation. It would have been 10 times worth of the Great Protection. You have to watch the Plan K video through the all way. Okay, I hear you. Okay, I will definitely do that. I'll start. I think I watched the first and second one. And I'll watch the remaining 3, I think, that are tonight. I promise you that. But yeah, thank you very much again for the $5 donation, brother. I appreciate it very, very much. And, I do agree. I do agree that, while I said I didn't know if it'd be worse than the Great Depression, I can envision why it would be. And equally, I do agree that we were on the cusp of a complete catastrophe. So, love or hate Trump, again, you're entitled to your own beliefs. I'm not saying I support him at all. I'm staying neutral on the matter, but I am highlighting that if he can save the dollar, no matter how he goes about it, that could inherently be good. It could, because again, the alternative would have been a complete collapse. And that would have caused, pandemonium all over the world. And, as Plan K's videos highlight, and I'm going to watch them to actually get the understanding of where he's coming from as well, as Tony's highlighted here, would have been worse than the Great Depression. And none of us, I imagine, because that's 100 years back, none of us can really envision what that was like. We didn't live it. But we've heard how bad it was, and how they've done everything they can to avoid that happening again. But yeah, again, so money right now on the sidelines, it looks like a collapse on the way, but hopefully we'll avoid that, and the empty supply is rallying up higher and higher, which is a good indicator again that the market, when the time is right, when the economy has become a little bit more stable, or it's stagnated so much that you need to see money printing to, resuscitate it again, you'll see these markets explode. And we're here before the institutions are, so we can size them up ahead of the game. Is it going to be the way they push ASICs out by giving the money incentive back to the individual miners? Potentially, yeah, it's not a bad sentiment. They're pushing out the solar mining again with the 10 bps. They use the 10 bps because we do know that Ice River, they're releasing their most improved, newest hardware, their newest miners between the middle to end of April. So in the next 2 to 3 to 4 weeks, just ahead of 10 bps. So potentially that's their marketing strategy to try and bring more miners back to Kaspa, knowing that 10 bps is going to give you, not exactly, but inherently 10 times better opportunity to actually hit a block and therefore make more money on Kaspa. The cost for mining is so high because of electricity. I'm not a miner, so I cannot attest to that, but I'm sure those who are miners can give their own opinion as well. Welcome back, Night Runner Man. Hope you're doing very, very well. Damn, one thing after the next with this Kaspa, I bought way too much at like 18, 19 cents. Now look how cheap it is, damn. Yeah, infuriating, I know. Beyond infuriating, I'm sure. I don't again, my average for Kaspa right now is also higher than the price it is right now, so I'm equally down. But that's, again, one of the things that I know members who are part of the community here, we have been teaching people how to trade in the community as well, and people have been able to lower that average of Kaspa down from like 14 to 12 cents or even lower than that. Right now, again, I would say DC is probably the best thing to do right now, how the market's at, but when the market was trading sideways here, or relatively sideways here, after the massive fall and then came back down here, this was a good time where you could have, between this zone here, to see if you wanted to trade Kaspa. Of course, I don't trade Kaspa myself. I trade other assets, but I don't trade Kaspa. But those who wanted to trade Kaspa here, they made quite a bit of profit during this cycle. That's another benefit of the community that we have in there. So if you want to find out more, again, links in the description below. Go check that out. If Marathon sells $2 billion for the Kaspa, it means Kaspa is automatically going to zero because the market cap is above $2 billion. Well, actually, the market cap is below $2 billion right now, unfortunately. But yeah, no. In that regard, you're right. But of course, the title maybe is a little bit misleading. It's not Marathon selling $2 billion worth of Kaspa to get Bitcoin. It's $2 billion worth of their own stock to get more Bitcoin. And that inherently is a bullish sentiment for them having more faith. Them and BlackRock and their shareholders having even more faith in crypto and Bitcoin. And again, they do know of Kaspa. They mine Kaspa. Actively or passively, they know of Kaspa, these institutions, these BlackRocks. So this could also be a good indicator for Kaspa when you're seeing these big developments and Kaspa 2.0 effectively coming out in the next month or two. 10 BPS, smart contracts, stablecoins, Dagnite, all that sort of stuff. Very bullish as well. Just reading through the questions right now because I feel like I just see that actually a question to me of the conversations right now. Looks like Kryptoni and Dance are having a very nice back and forth, which is very nice to see. What's up, Andy, man? Hope you're doing very, very well, brother. I got 95 more Kaspa today. Keep going, brother. I love hearing that. Honestly, I do. Every day you're scattering more Kaspa, and it makes me so happy hearing it every day. Just knowing your conviction in Kaspa is stronger than most. No matter how big or how small, that bag is still growing. So keep it up, brother. Very, very not it's the right thing to say, but I'm proud of you. I'm not a dad by any means, but I'm proud of you either way. Kaspa 100%, yeah. Kaspa is 100% one of the best in this space, no doubt. Wallet number 0. Anyone else? I'm pretty sure everyone here probably holds some Kaspa. If not, then they're here to FUD, which again is fine if you want to FUD Kaspa, but I personally ignore the FUD right now. I've ignored it in general because it's become very mindless FUD. There's no FUD for Kaspa that's warranted. oh, it's so bad in price action. Look at the market. You can't FUD Casper if the old project are doing badly. If they're trying to FUD about the price action, I think they're trying to get a rise out of you. And, you know, I typically don't bite. So it's probably not very fun trying to FUD me, I imagine. But who knows? Maybe they still have fun either way. You know what? Trump liked everybody until he got in the power, and now look, he's screwing everyone over, especially Bitcoin tariffs, screwing up everything, and that's part of this guy. I mean, again, I think that's partly why I think I had a sixth sense about this sort of message coming through. Again, I don't support nor rally against Trump. I have a very neutral perspective on politics. I don't actually like talking about politics, but politics inherently has a massive effect on financial markets, so you have to know about it, you have to talk about it. I know more about American politics than I do in my own country in the UK. I have no idea what's happening here, actually, truth be told, and it's quite sad. Not that I don't really want to know, but I have to know. Either way, point being is, you can love or hate Trump, and I think either sentiment, either, you know, ideology is perfectly fine. You can hate Trump if you want to, you can love him if you want to. The way I see it is, and as Plan K made videos about, and again, the videos about it are in my free community there, which Cryptony reposted there. It's in the Casper channel, and I think if I haven't already, I will do. I'll pin them there, so everyone can just go check it out for free. Where you can see Plan K's breakdown on the history of the economy, and also how Casper's going to tap into that as well. I've already watched 2 out of these seemingly 5 long series. They're long videos, but they're very informative and gives you an outlook on the market right now. And what I understand at the base layer is the dollar was on the verge of a collapse. And the reason why Meta, which is a federally funded research organization to help new administration transition, they advised Trump team to launch stablecoin policies and legislation in the first 90 days because US dollar-backed stablecoins will bring more support back to the dollar again, more power back to it. If they abandoned that idea and they still had the buzzing approach of screw crypto, we don't want this stuff, the dollar, no matter what they try, the dollar would have collapsed. I'm convinced in that much. I haven't got confirmation. That's, you know, hypothetical. I don't know, but the dollar was on the verge of a collapse, no doubt. Bringing in crypto, and now America trying to catch up very quickly and implementing stablecoin policies very quickly as well, is a way to help stabilize the current economy. But it's going to be more pain before we see some more gains. That's also the problem as well. And that's why I made a post about it, I think, earlier today. Was it earlier today or was it some other time? I can't remember. But I made a reply to some of this. I said that, you know, if this market was easy, we'd all be billionaires, you know? Unfortunately, it's not easy. But it's about having research, conviction, and knowing what you're holding. Imagine someone who bought at 4 cents last year and didn't profit at 20 cents. He's not happy either. True, completely true. Again, you know, while Trump seemingly has caused a big issue in the market, everybody, whether you're holding Casper or crypto, you're not happy right now. Even if you got Casper back down here, you know, you're not very happy with Casper being so close to also, you know, being at levels, you know, back in its seemingly consolidation period in September 2023. And it's definitely a chance to go back down to the level. Downside is still on the horizon, but for me, again, the long-term outlook is still extremely bullish for the market going forward. Andy had the solution, buying more. Well done, keep it. I mean, yeah, you know it, honestly. What's up, Art Zero Man? Welcome back to the stream. What's up, Jay? In my opinion, I wouldn't drink the Kool-Aid from big whales who use retail asset liquidity. Bitcoin at 67k, 21, weeks later at 82k. If you add inflation, that is pretty mediocre. True, but that's also why I don't use this as the Holy Grail. The same way how I don't use TA as the Holy Grail. I use multiple different avenues to help devise my own investment strategies. I use historical data, I use institutional sentiment, and I use fundamental development for the project I'm looking into as well. For me, Casper's a very, very sound project. Historically, there's not much history on Casper, so I look at the market. Market right now, seeing it peak in January and falling off is not happened before, so I think it's unlikely. Also based on the fundamentals, the policies coming through is going to be more adoption as well, and even institutions are very, very bullish. I don't listen to the likes of, Larry Fink saying potentially we see a 500k Bitcoin. I don't listen to that. I think that's a bit much. If it happens, fantastic. I'm, laughing. But I doubt that. 500k Bitcoin, at least this soon, is ridiculous. Michael Saylor saying in one day we'll see a $500 trillion Bitcoin or something stupid. I was like, yeah. A $500 trillion market cap Bitcoin. I'm like, $500 trillion market cap Bitcoin? Like, I would love to know where he gets his numbers from, because I don't see how it's a possibility. At least not in the immediate future. It'll probably be, 100 years maybe, give or take. I don't even know. So, for me, again, it's a bit... But I use it to help devise my strategy. So, while this, from 67k here, is mediocre, considering inflation, I agree, it did end up hitting here, which was better. And in my belief, again, not financial advice, of course, my belief, it will surpass that this cycle. I'm still hoping for 130 to 50k Bitcoin at least, around this zone here. It may reach that, it may not, it may go higher. We'll have to wait and see. This is my zone right now. I'm hoping for Bitcoin. Between, it will be like just above 2.5 to 3 trillion dollar market cap, give or take. Meaning crypto reaches the 6 trillion market cap. I think that's possible. 5 trillion market cap. We have to wait and see again. None of us can truly ascertain the level of adoption we'll see of institutions, because they have a lot. We don't know exactly how much. We don't have a lot. We don't know how much they want to allocate into crypto. So again, it's ultimately a guessing game that we can use some information to help support it, but no one really knows. Just see more questions here quickly. I have a feeling Binance still want less Kaspa at 10 blocks per second. I could have bought a used Lambo in cash for the amount of money I put in Kaspa. I mean, my sentiment on Binance listing Kaspa is, and I'm saying this now, I do not think that Binance are going to list Kaspa on 10 BPS activation day, or even just before that, because 10 BPS is a fantastic historical milestone, history in the making, never done before, absolutely massive, but it is nothing more than a foundation building block, giving miners more ways to make money, fantastic, more opportunities to mine blocks, also making, not exactly, but inherently Kaspa 10 times faster, making it 6,000 times faster than Bitcoin, again very big, but you need building on top of Kaspa. So you need the smart contracts and the stable coins. The good news is, both of those two features, through the EVMs, so bridging from Ethereum over, and equally stablecoins, will be coming out seemingly around this time anyways. Looking Q2, maybe end of Q2, end of May going into June, maybe even in July. The exact timeline right now is not being the only timeline we have confirmed right now is the activation. The rough timeline activation date is here. That's the only timeline we have. Everything else is speculative, but a lot of signs suggest, I know we saw from Johnny, the opcodes coming out for Casplex are going to be coming out in May. And we know from Capital here that LT solution won't be ready for Crescendo, but a proper timeline will be following. So it won't be far off either. Igra Labs, again, they're building, so it won't be far off that either. We've got Zealous here also making smart stablecoins. So in that regard, 10 BPS in itself won't be the catalyst. 10 BPS will be the spark for the chain effect of catalysts, and hopefully by that point also the time the market starts to reverse as well with the M2 supply and whatnot as well. And that will start to see, hopefully, the Kaspa Plus start to rally with more adoption and building coming on board, and therefore tier 1s knowing it's a good opportunity, the opportunity if the volume starts to rally again with Kaspa, right now it's only at 40 million, that will be the time they lost to this project. 40 million Kaspa is very, very low. Thankfully, a lot of it being done with the bigger exchanges right now. Mexi 23, ByBit get 13 and 12, Gate 15, Gelbank 10, but these two here being high is good. But you see it higher. When you see this higher, and equally these two stay as high if not higher as well, that would be a good indicator again that Binance are about to list. Because that's what, at least that's the sentiment we have from the likes of KF. Also look at the S&P 500 right now as well. Also when the markets are down right now, because the S&P 500 is also a very good indicator of, the current economy. This is what traders use to analyze the stock market and the amount of money the US companies currently have. We saw a sharp reversal on the 25th of March, and it's still on a downtrend. Very sharp downtrend. We see it lose this level here, you might see further corrections. So it's again, TA market analysis is more than just looking at the chart of Bitcoin, chart of Kaspa, looking at all the markets as well, all the other analysis as well, and equally, and more importantly for me, it's also about the macro. Because again, S&P 500 coming down, that's coming down because of the bad macro news. If the macro news end up being really, really bullish at the time, the S&P 500 will start to reverse again. The markets react to the news. The news doesn't happen because the markets are doing what it's doing, What's up, Devious? Welcome back to the stream, brother. Hope you're doing very, very well today. Have a great weekend and all of that. It's good stuff. Any more questions have I missed? Kaspa looking cheap at 6.5 cents. I keep buying. It's proof of work and fine. Yeah, again, it's complete fire sale discount right now, no doubt. Don't worry, I'm all good. I'm down with Kappa for life. I'm getting rich and die trying. Keep back in your bags. I mean, yeah, I knew that night whether you're a bullish Kaspa maxi, if you will. I know you have faith in Kaspa. It's just, again, you're venting your frustration, which you're well entitled to do. Again, everyone's frustrated. I can also, vent if I choose to about what's happening with crypto and Kaspa. But every time I feel a little bit flustered, I just do this research here. I look at the even more in-depth information that I put in here, and my whole worries just fade away effectively because I'm like, okay, I know what's coming. I haven't got to be worried just yet. Statistically, we have been in a worse depression, worse than the Great Depression since COVID. That's also true. Everything right now is looking very bleak. Plan K is one of the best YouTube channels. Yeah, I mean, I agree. Plan K, Kappa Silver, those two are very, very good for Kaspa content. And I'd like to say myself as well, but I'm not going to be arrogant and saying that for myself. I just try to do the best I can do. Anyone interested in the videos I'm talking about? The series is called Endgame by Plan K. All four are very important. And the 5th video, I sent him on Kaspa out of chaos order. Yeah, I mean, again, if you want to find out about it, you can find out in the free community here. And if I haven't pinned already, I'll pin them so you can find them very easily. And equally, if you want to be even more locked in, learning a lot more about the space, join the What page here, 7-day free trial. There's a lot more coming to the space, and it's about keeping you all informed and also how to actually make the most of this current market through other means like trades, and also know what assets to size into if you want to diversify as well. Will Marathon invest the 20 billion in miners or just Bitcoin? It's a good question. Right now, from what we can see, it doesn't really clarify. I think it just says to buy more Bitcoin as an exact thing, not to mine it. So I imagine they're just buying Bitcoin. But again, it's just showcasing more institutional sentiment and belief in the crypto space for Bitcoin again. So that could, again, with it being proof of work, and again, the SEC also giving the green light on proof of work activity and mining, this could also correlate to being bullish for Kaspa as well. Kaspa is in a very strong position. Price-wise, no, but all the fundamentals, the building blocks are there. Marathon's holding them. SEC is giving them clarity. You've got 10 BPS, stable coins, smart contracts. You've got Dagnite, Dagnite, all of that coming out as well. You have ETPs already out for Kaspa, with Grayscale already considering them for ETFs. They've got all the right things in the right places. It's just about pulling the trigger, which I think a lot of those triggers will be pulled this cycle, and you'll see an explosive rally. But with that being said, I think that may be it for today's Kaspa content, because again, it is Mother's Day. I don't want to spend too much time on here, as I do have to spend time with my family, my lovely mother, during her one day. Well, I say one day, she's got a birthday as well, I guess, but the day that's meant for mothers every single year. Take her out for a nice dinner and all that stuff. My only fear is that Kaspa will not get enough adoption before all Kaspa mine and miners start to leave because fees will not get enough. I understand the concern about that, definitely, but the reason why I'm not too worried about that again is because you've got the likes of the KRI with the institutional investors who are ultimately pushing Kaspa out there for institutional clients, and the institutional adoption will bring more retailing as well. It's like a knock-on effect. Retail, a lot of retail know a Kaspa, they choose not to be in it because of the price, because they just don't seem to understand it. But when Kaspa starts to rally up, you see retail get in. All these projects here, building on here, will bring more adoption to Kaspa as well. It's definitely a cause for concern, as it always is. So again, always do your own due diligence, but I am not that worried about that in regard, because I think Kaspa again has the right partnerships and the right connections to get the adoption it needs. So on Polinsky, again, they're doing a lot of good stuff right now. And again, we've got the community here who is maxis till we die. We believe in Kaspa, and we also continue to educate everyone who are blinded or misinformed about the matter. But with that being said, that'll be it for today's Kaspa daily crypto and Kaspa content. If you enjoyed, as always, leave a like, share with your friends, for more. You have no idea how much it helps me out if you like the video and share it. It helps out so much. Get Kaspa's name out there. Things are still early on in crypto. Again, the adoption, the appetite is growing more and more. More to come in this space, no doubt. If you enjoyed, leave a like. If you want to know more, check out the free community. Links in the description. Also my homepage here. Or be even more locked in with the What page, 7-day free trial. Have a great day, good evening, good night. Happy Mother's Day, everybody. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Take care now.